The dawn of a dynasty, a recap of the 1999-2000 NBA season, the Y2K power vacuum. As the world survived the Y2K scare, the NBA was facing a crisis of its own, a massive identity vacuum left by Michael Jordan's second retirement. The league was searching for a new empire to anchor the millennium, and all eyes turned toward a glitzy new arena in downtown Los Angeles. The talent was there in Shaq and Kobe, but the discipline was non-existent until a Zen master arrived to turn the chaos into a blueprint for a dynasty. This wasn't just a season. It was the moment the NBA stopped looking for the next MJ and started witnessing the birth of a new dual-headed monster, the post-Jordan identity crisis. The 1999-2000 season began with the NBA still reeling from the end of the Chicago Bulls dynasty and a visible dip in television ratings. Fans were struggling to find a new focal point as the search for a singular successor to Jordan led to a fragmented landscape of young stars. Commissioner David Stern was desperate to transition the league away from the defensive, grinded-out style that had characterized the late 90s. The league felt stuck in a transitional phase, waiting for a team or a player to truly seize control of the national narrative. This vacuum set the perfect stage for Los Angeles Lakers to emerge as the league's new centerpiece. Phil Jackson and the Triangle. After winning 6 titles in Chicago, Phil Jackson brought his Zen-like coaching philosophy and the complex triangle offense to the Lakers. He was tasked with managing the growing egos of Shaquille O'Neal and a young Kobe Bryant, who had struggled to coexist effectively under previous regimes. Jackson focused heavily on mental preparation, famously giving his players specific books to read and utilizing meditation to build team chemistry. The triangle offense forced Shaq to become a more willing passer and Kobe to find his shots within a structured system rather than through pure isolation. Almost overnight, the Lakers transformed from a group of talented individuals into a disciplined, championship-caliber machine. The move to Staples Center. The Lakers bid farewell to the historic Great Western Forum and moved into the state-of-the-art Staples Center in downtown LA. This transition turned Lakers games into the ultimate Hollywood red carpet event, attracting a nightly crowd of A-list celebrities and business moguls. The arena's luxury suites and modern amenities symbolized the NBA's move toward a more corporate and high-end entertainment product. While the Clippers shared the building, it was the Lakers who made it a fortress and the undisputed epicenter of the basketball world. The move marked a literal and symbolic shift into a more glamorous, high-stakes era for the franchise. Shaq's absolute dominance. Shaquille O'Neal in the year 2000 was the most physically overwhelming force the NBA had seen in generations. He averaged 29.7 points and 13.6 rebounds, leading the league in scoring while shooting an incredible 57% from the field. Shaq was so dominant that he came within one single vote of becoming the first unanimous MVP in NBA history. He combined his massive size with a surprisingly nimble post-game, making it impossible for any single defender to contain him without help. For 82 games, Shaq played with a massive chip on his shoulder, determined to prove he was the undisputed king of the hardwood. Vinsanity in the 19-game tear. While Shaq was bullying the league in the paint, a 23-year-old in Toronto was busy gravity testing the laws of physics. 2000 was the year Vinsanity became a global fever. Vinsanity in the slam dunk contest. The 2000 slam dunk contest in Oakland is widely regarded as the night Vince Carter saved the event and became a global icon. With his 360 windmill and the honey dip dunk where he put his arm in the rim, Carter silenced the arena and reinvented what was possible in the air. He didn't just win the contest, he created a cultural phenomenon that resonated far beyond the borders of Canada. Carter's high-flying style gave the NBA a much-needed injection of youth and excitement during the post-Jordan transition. For a few weeks, half-man, half-amazing was the most talked about athlete on the planet. The 19-game win streak. Between February and March, the Lakers embarked on a 19-game winning streak that solidified their status as the championship favorites. During this run, they won in every possible fashion, showcasing a defensive intensity that complemented their high-powered offense. The streak proved that Phil Jackson's system had finally clicked and that the players had fully bought into their specific roles. It struck fear into the rest of the Western Conference, as the Lakers seemed to find a gear that no other team could reach. By the time the streak ended, the Lakers had effectively locked up the top seed and the psychological edge for the playoffs. The deep Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers entered the season with the most expensive and deepest roster in the league. Featuring stars like Scottie Pippen and Rasheed Wallace, their two-platoon system allowed them to bring former All-Stars off the bench, creating relentless waves of talent that wore opponents down. Portland was the only team in the West that matched up physically with the Lakers, leading many to believe they were the true contenders. Their versatile defense and veteran experience made them a nightmare for anyone in the Western Conference bracket. They finished with 59 wins, setting the stage for a legendary collision course with the Los Angeles Lakers. The 2000 All-Star Game. The 2000 All-Star Game in Oakland served as a coronation for the league's new guard of superstars. Shaquille O'Neal and Tim Duncan shared MVP honors, highlighting the dominance of the big man era in the Western Conference. The game was a high-scoring showcase of athleticism, featuring young Allen Iverson and Kevin Garnett, alongside the established legends. It was a rare moment where the tension of the season was replaced by a celebration of the league's emerging talent. The game signaled that while Jordan was gone, the NBA's future was in incredibly capable hands. The rising stars and rule changes. Beyond the Lakers' dominance, the 2000 season was about the rising voices of a new generation. From The Answer in Philly to A Miracle in San Antonio, the league was evolving. The rise of The Answer. Allen Iverson truly arrived as a cultural and basketball phenomenon in 2000. Carrying the Philadelphia 76ers with his relentless scoring, he averaged 28.4 points per game, proving that a player of his stature could dominate a league full of giants. Iverson's braids and tattoos aesthetic became the face of the NBA's new hip-hop influenced identity, much to the chagrin of the old guard. His fearless style of play made the 76ers a tough out every night and laid the groundwork for his MVP run the following year. Iverson was not just a player, he was a movement that redefined what it meant to be an NBA superstar. The next MJ carousel. The media's obsession with finding the successor to Michael Jordan reached a fever pitch in 2000, focusing on Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, and Grant Hill. Each player brought a different Jordan-esque quality to the table. Kobe had the footwork, Carter had the athleticism, and Hill had the all-around playmaking, but to do so with a specific flair. While the next MJ label was often a burden, it helped market the league to a global audience hungry for a hero. Ultimately, this season proved that the league was big enough for all of them to coexist as distinct icons. The 5-second rule change. To speed up the game and discourage stagnant play, the NBA implemented a new rule, prohibiting offensive players from backing down an opponent for more than 5 seconds. This was a direct response to players like Mark Jackson and Charles Barkley, whose prolonged post-ups often ground the game to a halt. The league wanted to encourage more movement, passing, and face-up play to make the television product more appealing. This change forced many veterans to adjust their offensive styles and paved the way for a more fluid, high-scoring era. It was one of the first major steps in the league's ongoing effort to prioritize pace and space. Sean Elliott's miracle return. In one of the most inspiring stories in sports history, San Antonio Spurs forward Sean Elliott returned to the court just months after a kidney transplant. He became the first professional athlete to return to play following such a major procedure, defying the expectations of medical experts. His first game back was a national event, symbolizing the resilience and heart of the defending champion Spurs. While he wasn't the same explosive scorer he once was, his presence on the floor was a massive emotional boost for his teammates and fans. Elliott proved that his legendary Memorial Day miracle was just one part of a truly incredible career journey. Reggie Miller's Pacers breakthrough. After years of playing second fiddle to Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers finally secured their first ever trip to the NBA Finals. Under the guidance of Larry Bird, the Pacers were a poised veteran squad that prioritized ball movement and clutch perimeter shooting. They survived a grueling series against the New York Knicks, with Miller once again proving to be the ultimate closer in the fourth quarter. The Pacers represented the last of the great 90s-style teams, built on grit and outside shooting rather than overwhelming athleticism. For Reggie, reaching the finals was the hard-earned validation of a career spent chasing the game's ultimate prize. Patrick Ewing's Knicks sunset. The 2000 season marked the final chapter for Patrick Ewing in New York, closing out the most iconic era in the history of Madison Square Garden. Despite battling chronic knee injuries, Ewing willed the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals one last time through sheer grit. His presence in the paint remained a deterrent, but the Knicks' aging core eventually ran out of steam against the younger, faster Pacers. Ewing was traded to Seattle in the following offseason, a move that stunned the city and officially ended the tough guy identity of the 90s Knicks. New York fans watched their legend depart, knowing they were witnessing the end of an unforgettable Knicks era of basketball. The Game 7 collapse. The playoffs arrived, and while the East was a veteran slugfest, the West came down to one of the most dramatic 12-minute collapses in sports history. What followed was a historic collapse, as Portland missed 13 consecutive shots, while the Lakers mounted a furious and improbable comeback. The atmosphere in the Staples Center shifted from funeral to electric as the Lakers chipped away at the deficit point by point. Portland seemed paralyzed by the moment, unable to stop the momentum of the home crowd and the Lakers' surging stars. It remains one of the most painful what-if moments for a franchise that was just minutes away from the finals. The iconic alley-oop. The Lakers' comeback was capped off by the most famous play of the decade, a Kobe Bryant crossover and a towering alley-oop to Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq's thunderous finish and his iconic arms-wide celebration signaled the official arrival of the Lakers dynasty to the world. This single play encapsulated the chemistry between the two young stars and the raw power that would dominate the league for years. It was the moment the Zen Master's vision finally manifested on the court under the highest possible pressure. The alley-oop is still considered the definitive image of the 2000s NBA and the ultimate Showtime revival. The coronation. The finals were the coronation. Shaq was a man amongst boys, and the Lakers finally became the champions the world expected them to be. Jalen Rose and the ankle incident. The NBA Finals were briefly overshadowed by a controversial injury to Kobe Bryant in Game 2, caused by Jalen Rose sticking his foot under Kobe's landing zone. The resulting severe ankle sprain forced Kobe to miss the rest of Game 2 and all of Game 3, sparking a decade-long debate about Rose's intent. Despite the pain, Kobe returned for a legendary Game 4 performance, taking over in overtime after Shaq had fouled out. This moment of hero ball proved that Kobe had the mental toughness to match his immense physical skill. It was the first real sign that the Lakers had two closers who could win a championship on their own. Shaq's finals masterpiece. With Kobe hampered by his injury, Shaquille O'Neal delivered one of the most statistically dominant finals performances in history, averaging 38 points and nearly 17 rebounds. He was an immovable object in the paint, forcing the Pacers to utilize the hack-a-Shaq strategy just to slow the game down. Shaq scored over 40 points in 3 different games during the series, making the Pacers' veteran big men look completely overmatched. His performance earned him a unanimous Finals MVP, completing a triple crown of MVP awards for the season. It was the absolute peak of Shaq's powers, a stretch of basketball where he was truly unguardable by any human being. The bust draft of 2000. As the Lakers celebrated their title, the league held the 2000 NBA draft, which would go down as one of the least productive classes in history. With Kenyon Martin as the top pick, the draft lacked the superstar talent of previous years and produced very few consistent all-stars. This lack of an incoming next big thing further solidified the dominance of the existing stars like Shaq, Kobe, and Duncan. It meant that the power structure established in the 2000 season would remain relatively unchallenged for the next several years. The 2000 draft served as a stark contrast to the legendary talent that had just finished the season. The start of a three-peat. The Lakers' Game 6 victory over the Pacers gave the franchise its first championship in 12 years, and the first of 3 consecutive titles. The celebration in LA was a cathartic release for a city that had waited through the post-Magic Johnson years for a return to glory. Shaq and Kobe had finally proved they could win together, silencing the critics who said their styles and egos were incompatible. This title was the foundation of a Lakers empire that would define the first half of the new millennium. The 1999-2000 season didn't just end with a trophy, it ended with the birth of a legend. That was the year 2000. From the neon lights of Staples to the roar of the crowd, the purple and gold reign had officially begun.